Boxing Truth here, back with another video. Make sure to smash that like button, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Alright, let's talk about the quality of the stream I just got. I mean, look at this. Look at this. Not $75 worthy. I didn't have to pay 80 bucks for this fight. But man, just look at the quality of the stream I got, man. For this fight, for this was supposed to be a showcase fight, and it was for Gervonta Davis, a $75 showcase. To Jesus own. If you bought the pay-per-view, it is what I ain't gonna knock you. It's your choice. I mean, I don't pay unless I feel it's absolutely worth it, or I'll just go to the bar and watch it. But Gervonta Davis got the expected outcome of this fight, but he did it a lot later than I thought he would. An 11th round stoppage over a overmatch Mario Barrios. I mean, Barrios, he fought a disciplined fight. He didn't overcommit himself. He tried to limit the counterpunch opportunities for Davis, and it worked for the first half of the fight. Davis was unimpressive, did not look good in the start of this fight. Actually lost quite a few rounds in the fight. He just wasn't able to get inside. He wasn't able to really get any counterpunching opportunities because Barrios was fighting very smart. He would only throw no more than 1 or 2 punches at a time. He was staying disciplined behind that jab, keeping distance, trying to keep Davis at a distance and avoid his counter shots in return. But as the rounds progressed, Davis started to get more comfortable, started to close the distance, and he was starting to create. He needed to create in this fight instead of just relying on counter-punching opportunities. And he did, especially towards the latter part, second half of the fight. I mean, Barrios just wasn't going to give him that counter-punch to really have this fight end early for Davis. Davis had to go out there and create, he did. It took some time. Interesting exchange between Floyd and Gervonta in the corner. At least Floyd was being honest. He, told him the unofficial score. I mean, I wasn't scoring the fight, but Davis wasn't doing much offensively in that first half. So maybe he was down on the scorecards. He wasn't really doing much. And Barrios was fighting disciplined, smart, but he wasn't taking enough risk. He would only take risks when he was getting pounded or when he was hurt. So overall, it wasn't Gervonta's best performance, but he did what was expected. He got the knockout victory. Little longer than expected. I expected around 6 to 9. I expected Barrios' size to get him past the first half of the fight, and him being bigger, the taller guy, and at 140 pounds since the beginning of his career, I expect him to get past the first 6, but I expected him to get stopped, and he did. Davis was able to close the show. The fight became a lot more interesting in the second half. It was more fireworks after a slow start from Davis. But this fight showed me that Davis really belongs at 135. At 130, I mean, he has some troubles with not a top 40 pounder, not a elite guy, a guy who was really a top 10, top 15-ish type 40 pounder. Davis was able to get him out of there because he's the more talented, more explosive fighter. But he's giving away too much physicality, too much height, too much reach. And if he was in there with a guy with a little more talent, a little more firepower, like a Josh Taylor, it might have been a different story. Or even a Regis Prograis, it might have been a different story. Guys who were a little more experienced at the top level, punch harder, and have more ability than Mario Barrios. I'd rather see Tank down at 135 at 130. We all know he's not going to fight Josh Taylor. There are big fights for him at 135. And the Lomachenko fight is still there. Still a huge fight. But, Davis does have flaws. He can get frustrated in that ring, and that's still a risky fight for Davis, even though Lomachenko is 33 years old. So I expect something creative out of the brain trust of Floyd Mayweather, Leonard Ellaby. Let's see what they pull out of their hat this time. I don't expect Davis to stay at 140 after collecting that Mickey Mouse belt with the WBA. But you just wonder who's going to be next, since he's on the PBC side fighting on Showtime, and he's still, I mean, look at the crowd. He's a draw. No matter who he fights, he could fight an unknown guy. 15,000 people show up. There is mainstream attention on him. Celebrities, athletes tuning in to watch him fight. He's definitely one of the most exciting fighters in the game, and he showed why tonight, closing the show in the second half, knocking out a bigger opponent, but overmatched opponent. So I'm always going to tune in to watch Gervonta Davis fight because he's one of the most exciting fighters. You know, he does damage. He's a skilled boxer, counter puncher, and you know, he knocks people the fuck out. So I'm going to watch him fight, regardless of who he fights. Even though I know he's protected a little bit. But the dude does have ability. He can fight. But they're being careful with him with the matchmaking. And this was good matchmaking on Mayweather's part. Even though there was some vulnerabilities. There was some doubt in the first 6 rounds of that fight. As Davis wasn't really... It was kind of like Lomachenko Lopez. I mean, Davis almost did absolutely nothing in the first half of that fight. But he turned it around. He closed the show and got the stoppage. And we're all wondering who's going to be next. Who's at 135 on the PBC side that Davis can fight? I mean, that's one of the reasons why he moved up to fight a PBC 40-pounder with a baby belt. Because Teofimo's at 35 with all the belts. He's on another side. And Devin Haney has his belt, whatever you want to call that belt, but he's on the DAZN side. So who is he going to fight at 135? But these fights politically can't get made. Just makes you wonder. No idea what Davis does next, man. No idea. He might go back to 30. He could go back to 35, but I have to look at the rankings and the PBC fighters within those rankings and in those divisions to really get a good feel on who he fights next. I don't have them in front of me, so I'm not really sure. Can't anticipate the move Floyd's going to do next with Gervonta, but we'll just have to wait and see. But I don't expect it to be anyone outside of PBC, at least for not maybe another year or so. But y'all let me know what y'all think about Davis's performance tonight. Who would you like him to fight next realistically? This is Boxing Truth. I'm out.